was the thought process on Brock Coyle? Why IR for him?
One, he had the concussion, and then two, it was he broke a bone in his back. So I know that's very scary always, but it's what was the technical term? T4 compression fracture. 6 weeks till he can have contact again. So I mean, he will recover it sometime this year, but we know it's going to be at least 6 weeks before he can have a chance to play football.
Do you have an update on Mike Person, Josh Garnett?
Yeah, they're still questionable. They won't practice today, but they'll be day to day. Hopefully, have a chance at Sunday.
And how about Goodwin?
Goodwin, same thing. He's not practicing today. He's in that same boat. Just to go through all those. I mean, Brock to IR. We got Garnett, Person, Goodwin, and Malcolm today are all in the same boat. None of them are going to practice. They'll all be questionable for the game. Magnuson's the only guy who didn't play last week who will try him out in Indy today.
The pick six, obviously the receiver ran a different route than Jimmy was expecting. But do you want him to throw that pass, even if Bourne was coming back for the ball? I mean, is that the right thing to do in that situation?
Yeah, no doubt. It's what you have to do. That's when you're hot and there's an unblocked guy right in your face. You got to you got to get it out of your hands right away. That's our hot route, and you don't have time to sit and look to see if they're running the right route. You have to let it rip and trust the guy's going to do it.
What's been his demeanor these last few days, Kyle, kind of in terms of how he's dealing with teammates? Is he trying to hold them more accountable? Is he speaking up more? Any difference?
Jimmy?
Yeah.
No, it's been the exact same, and I'd be disappointed if it was different. I mean, Jimmy tries his hardest every week. I know he didn't have his best game last week, but doesn't need to come in here and make stuff up. He's had some successful games in this league. He's going to have plenty more. He just needs to go back to work and win against a good defense. And they made some good plays, and we missed some. And that's what it was. And now we're ready to do better this week.
Did Bourne miss a side adjustment on that play?
No, it's not a side adjustment. Just the route he was supposed to run.
Okay.
He's supposed to run a 5-yard in. Instead, he ran a 5-yard stop. We called the 5-yard in an under route, and instead he ran a thunder route.
Did you watch the early Monday game?
Yeah, I did. I once got on our computers early Tuesday, but it got out of hand pretty fast, so there wasn't a lot to watch.
I mean, you saw the way it started, and then then for the Jets, that's a quarterback in his first throw to turn that around. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was, and he had a lot of help too. That game got out of hand pretty fast in that third quarter, but it definitely wasn't like the score. I mean, that was a 17-17 game. On the Jets' opening possession going in, they score, make it 24-17, with I think 10 minutes left in the third quarter. The next time they see the ball is 3 minutes later, and it's 37-17. And the Detroit defense hasn't been on the field, so it was followed by a pick six, followed by a punt return, then followed by another interception that got them the ball in the 10. So within 3.5 minutes, the game was over, and then it was a quarter and a half of just watching 4-minute drill. So I know that was frustrating for them, but to think that it was as bad as that score was, it wasn't. That's what happens when a team has 5 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown. They give up 2 punt returns, 1 for a touchdown, the other one into the strike zone. It's going to get out of hand fast when it was a lot tighter than that.
I know you talked about this on Monday, but going back to the red zone stuff in Minnesota, do you feel like you have to overhaul your plan when you get down there, or was it just something where they execute a little bit better? We're not talking about the red zone this week.
Yeah, I think you guys could look at it. I mean, we fumbled on the 1-yard line on 2nd and goal from the 1, and P had a chance to make a pretty good play going up for it there in the end zone, which would have been a tough one. And then, we missed a throw to Kittle at the end of the end zone. So I think if we make all 3 of those, which we're very more than capable of making a higher percentage of the time than not, then we had a great day in the red zone. So that's the entire NFL. It gets tougher down there, and when you have an opportunity and you miss it, you will not have a good day in the red zone. So not going to reinvent the wheel, but we're going to try to get better at that stuff.
Coach, with Goodwin's situation, now you'll be relying more on Dante Pettis. What do you expect from him now leading into week 2 after his performance, having to step up in that
just for us not to miss a beat. He got thrown in there right away because we lost Keys pretty early, and I thought he did a fairly good job, and he gave us a chance at times to win that game, and I expect him to be better this week. It was his first game as a pro, and he's been great since he's been here. And I think he got thrown into the fire there. We knew he was going to play a lot, but he got thrown into the fire a little bit more than expected. And we're still not sure about Keese this week, but I know Dante will be ready.
If neither of your two guards are ready, is the plan to move McGlinchey back there again?
I don't know. We'll see as this week goes. We know that's an option. We found out that was an option last week. We got 2 other tackles on our roster too, so that gives us some leeway. We're still not sure exactly about Garnett in person. They're going to be questionable all week. Magnuson's coming back, who has the first, he's just going individual today, so he'll be questionable. And then we took Turan off of practice squad. So there's a lot of possibilities that depends on how people look in practice and also who's capable of going, just based off of health.
The other day you were able to kind of jumpstart things by going to tempo a little bit there at the beginning of the game. How do you kind of balance between, okay, we want to jumpstart the offense, but also we want to make sure our defense gets a breather?
It's just a gut feel. That wasn't planned or anything, but you just got to play and you just feel it and you just go. And sometimes that works out and sometimes it's the worst idea possible because it's very quickly good things can happen and very quickly bad things can happen. So it's just something that you try to dabble in, keep people off balance. But it's just like anything. If defenses know what you're doing and you commit to whatever and you don't keep them off balance, they'll stop that. So we go in and out of it.
Did you sign Terrence Garvin to be the outside guy, or can he do both?
Mainly because we need a lot of flexibility right now, especially with Brock going on IR. It's going to put a lot more pressure on, Fred, who already took that last week, Elijah, who stepped in. We're still not sure about Malcolm this week. We brought in Garvin, who has a lot of experience in the system. He played outside backer for Seattle. I played against him a couple times, and he has some inside backer experience. So he's got the versatility there to help in all three. He also is a good special teams player. So we were very fortunate that he was available for us.
Jimmy doesn't seem to be a guy who likes to throw the ball away out of bounds in the dirt or whatever. As the play caller, would you rather he does that sometimes, or do you like the fact that he's always, pushing, always trying to, turn nothing into something?
I have mixed emotions about it. I mean, guys make plays, and when you get happy with guys for making plays, you can't sit there and get mad at them every time that they don't. That'll very handcuff them, and that's speaking out of both sides of my mouth as a coach. So Jimmy's made a lot of plays when nothing's been there. And my whole thing with that stuff is just about not guessing. If you see something, and I always want a guy to see something, react, let it rip, and don't hesitate. And if you make a mistake, just be able to understand why you did, be able to articulate it, and then we'll see it on the tape, and then we'll learn why we don't make that again. I don't want guys just saying I need to make a play and throw the ball up and yell 500 as they let it go and just hope someone comes down with it. But the game happens fast, and he's got a very good way of seeing the field, and he's got a quick release, and that's why he can make some things happen. But just like all players who do that, like I've said for a while, when you do that type of stuff, it happened with Stafford 2 days ago. 2 days ago, you can end up having a bad pick game.
On the off-schedule touchdown to Pettis, obviously it's off-schedule, but I mean, does Jimmy have a sense of where Pettis is going to go when the play breaks down like that?
Yeah, there's gray rules because it's organized chaos. I mean, it depends on where people ended up on the play. I love to say every time you have a scramble or off-schedule play that this guy goes here, this guy goes there, but what play did we call? Because whatever you say, these guys could be all over there. So they have to distribute the field, or some people coming back to them, some people going deep. We got a lot of rules with that it's 5 eligibles moving together and playing off each other, but they can't all go to the same spot. So that's stuff you got to work on.
Two more.
When you drafted Kittle last year, did you expect him to do what he's doing, or was there anything in his evolution that pleasantly surprised you?
No, he was one of the top tight ends that we had in the draft, and we had to go a different direction earlier, and we were really disappointed earlier because just some of the way that things went out in the draft, we thought there was no way we were going to get him. And then when he was there in the 5th round, we were shocked, and we were extremely happy. We brought him in here because we thought he was a very good passing tight end, and he's also a very good blocking tight end, so he helps us a lot.
You talk about wanting a quarterback to see things and not hesitate when it comes to making plays. Do you appreciate that about Matthew Stafford?
Yeah, I appreciated that about all the top guys. I like guys who aren't scared to fail. They're going to let it rip. They're not going to just guess and gamble, but they're trying to win the game. And they try to see stuff when they try to let it rip, and you do the best you can, and then you live with the consequences. I mean, what you don't want is someone who isn't sure and they're scared to get blamed, so they just sit there and take a sack. That's really hard to win when you have that, unless you depend on everyone else. And so you always want a quarterback who believes in himself, has the confidence to do it, and isn't scared of the result if it doesn't work.
All right, we got Jimmy here.
Thanks, guys.
Room is open.